in, and you know where I live. 235's my crib. It's radio in. Welcome to my house. Learning's what it's all about. World history's gonna go down. The textbook weighs 7 pounds. Welcome to. All right, it's the chapter 15, section 2, notes video. Check out your notes. Look at what I have. Make sure you have the important stuff and fix your notes if you need to. Add to them if you need to. And in my opinion, it's always best to use a different color writing utensil than what you completed your notes in. All right, so this packet is all about Spanish and Portuguese colonies. And so remember, Spanish refers to people from Spain. Anyway, so in this first little section here, what do we have? We have all right, there we go. We have colonies. That definition is really important. Okay, what it is a country sending people from its country to a different land and settling it and claiming that territory for the country. And I have a good video, a YouTube video describing what a colony is that I will also send to you if you haven't watched it in class. All right, so we have colonies, and this is something that Spain spent a lot of money and resources and time doing in the 15 and 1600s. All right, so I filled in this info for you, just how Spain kind of set up a government for the colonies in the Americas. And you should realize what their goals were in all this: gaining land and having people convert to Christianity. I think the book mentions winning souls for Christianity or something, but what they're talking about is they want more Christians. Just like John Green said in his video, they're looking for gold and Christians. Well, and land. Anyway, well, John Green didn't say land, but I think you know what I'm talking about. All right, so we have that as an important aspect of establishing colonies. They want to convert the Native Americans. You should have heard that before. That should sound familiar. And a lot of missionaries, those are people who like go out and try to spread religion, baptize lots of Native Americans and introduce the European ways to the Native Americans. And then when it says they imposed European culture, it's like they kind of forced it on them. So the Europeans want to kind of eradicate and eliminate Native American culture and aspects of the Native American life because they think their way is the better way. All right, so if you're good with your notes on page 1, flip to page 2. And if you're watching this on your own, then if you need to pause the video to catch up with something, then press that pause button. Okay, move on to page 2 when you're ready. All right, so in this part, this is an important part here. How did Spain control the economic activities of the colonies? So Spain sends all these people to the colonies and spends money and resources and wants to get that money and resources back and wants to make a profit as well. So they are very restrictive. You can only, when you're in these colonies, only export raw materials to Spain. So those are materials that you find in the colonies, can only go back to Spain, only buy Spanish manufactured goods, and you can't trade with other European countries or even other Spanish colonies. So they are really trying to control how the economy is working and how the resources from the colonies get used. They need to go directly back to Spain. This is going to maximize Spain's profits. Okay, so then we have the goods they had and the idea of plantations. So these goods here need a lot of workers, which led to the next issue with the Native Americans. So how are they going to get labor? There's something called an encomienda, which you should have that definition from the glossary. The Spanish can make Native Americans work for them or give them tribute, which is like a payment or payment in goods or money. It was probably goods. Plantation, there's a definition for plantation. So they need workers to be on the plantation. All right, so here's what you need to fill in on your paper because I said we would fill it in class. And if you're watching this video at home, I mean you're going to fill this in at home. If you're in school, well, you can fill it in class.
Okay, so fill in part C, 5C, and by having the encomienda, that allowed the Spanish to get the large number of workers they needed for the plantations, and they're free. And you know that if you don't pay your workers, you make a bigger profit. I just got a text from my husband if that ding made it to the video. So this system stunk for the Native Americans. You could be hunted down and killed if you didn't work. And then there were lots of deaths for various reasons that are listed there. NA stands for Native Americans in my notes. Okay, so this was very detrimental and harmful to the Native Americans. There was a priest that spoke out about this, Bartolome de las Casas. That led to a new law that did not allow people to enslave or abuse Native Americans. Okay, there's a little more about it on page 3, so go to page 3 when you are ready and done with page 2. Remember, if I go too fast, press the pause button. All right, so Spain is too far away to enforce these laws, so they're kind of pointless. And it just leads to people finding other ways to make Native Americans work for them for life. The Spanish still figure out how to make the Native Americans work for them for life. The Native Americans are peons. They have to pay off a debt to a landlord that is way too big to ever pay off in their lifetime. So they're stuck working for life for the landlord because they can't repay the debt. This eventually also leads to the idea of getting workers from Africa. There was a labor shortage, couldn't have Native Americans as slaves. Now let's go to Africa. Here are the reasons why. All right, he says they're immune to certain diseases and they have skills that would be helpful. He regretted saying this later, but he said it, it's out there, and the slave trade from Africa began as a result. Well, he probably wasn't the one reason it began, but the idea that you could get workers from Africa stuck around. All right, so that's that. All of this, actually, page 2. This I should go back to page 2. At the top, number 4 in 5A, benefits for Spain. You could put that in. For Spain, benefits. And then the frown for number 6, how the Native Americans did not benefit from exploration. On this page, how Native Americans do not, at least the bullets at the top, how Native Americans did not benefit from exploration, these 2 bullets. Right? So to the side you could write NA didn't benefit for Native Americans. All right, I think I gave you the rest. These cultural contributions, yep, cultural blending. So go on to the next page, page 4. All right, some of you skipped number 10. If you look at the social structure, the more white blood you had, or Spanish blood, I should say, the higher up you were. And if you didn't have any European Spanish blood, then you were towards the middle. Well, you were at the bottom. Sorry, you were at the bottom. If you had a little bit, you were in the middle. Okay, but it was based on race. The Portuguese had colonies in Brazil. Here's the information there for related to Brazil. That's why Portuguese is the main language of Brazil, because Portugal sent people to colonize what is today Brazil. And the Olympics are in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro this summer. I love the Olympics. Well, I'm making this video in 2016. So if it's not 2016, the Olympics have already happened. But as of June 10th, 2016, the Summer Olympics will be in Brazil this year. Plantations, Native Americans killed by disease, similarities to the Spanish. Moving on to the last page. Spain became the most powerful country in Europe. because of all this activity in the Americas, their colonies, their dominating of the trade, the controlling of the trade. Section 1 talked about making Native Americans work in mines, stealing their gold, making them get more. All of this led to great profits for Spain. This made other countries in Europe want to get in on the action. Some people traded illegally, as listed in the first bullet. Pirates, I always love a good pirate, although I guess they're kind of rebellious, maybe. I'm not quite sure why. I think it's the eye patch and peg legs and stuff. The novelty of and their vocabulary I think is really cool. Okay, so there's pirate ships and privateers, or people who have the government's approval to attack and capture enemy ships. And then lastly, I added a bullet. Some people just sailed the coast of the Americas looking for gold themselves. So, these are the key facts of chapter 15, section 2. So you can see some of that pirate vocabulary here with my Mr. Levine is in that picture. I used to teach English at the middle school. The photo you see is from the old building that was around 9 years ago and before. And that's all I really have to say about this section. If you have any questions, you can email me, ask me in school, write them on your paper somewhere. I hope this made sense. And thank you for watching the video.